And welcome back. Time for this week's Capital Report with Pat McGuigan of CapitalBeatOK.com. All right, Pat, an economist recently told you, quote, clearly there is a priority in public education for hiring people outside the classroom. All right, so why did he say that, and what's the evidence to back it up?
Well, the quote's from Professor Ben Scafidi of Georgia's Kennesaw State University. And by the way, he's written about Oklahoma stuff before now. He's studied public school finance all over the United States. And his evidence comes from an organization called the National Center for Education Statistics, which is an arm of the U.S. Department of Justice. Well, he found that from the fiscal year 1992 to the fiscal year 2013, the number of students in Oklahoma public schools increased by 14%. The number of school staff increased by 21%. But the number of lead teachers actually only increased by 11%. Why? Well, the difference is the 33% total increase in the number of all other staff. That's how you get an actual number that's smaller than the increased number of students for teachers. Well, economists talk about things called opportunity costs, which is things you don't get to do in business or in the public sphere because of choices you do make. Scafidi estimated that the annual cost or the annual savings, if the number of staff had increased at the same rate as the number of students, would be $294.1 million. With that money, you could do one of three things. Either give every kid, 36,000 plus kids, $8,000 scholarships to go to the school of their choice, one option that's being debated recently, or a total $7,042 raise for all public school classroom teachers, or some income tax reduction or other tax reductions, or I pressed him on this, mix of the three, only some of that. He said absolutely. It's just an example that choices have consequences, and we've made certain kinds of choices in public education in Oklahoma, and that ought to at least be part of the discussion going forward.
Interesting. Yeah, I've seen that before. All right. Next week, the Oklahoma academic standards for math and English language arts are scheduled to go into effect. These are new standards. But there are some who hope the legislature will force Superintendent Hoffmeister into a redo. A redo? What's up with this?
Okay. 2014, House Bill 3399 passed, and it required that the state, in order to move away from the Common Core curriculum, which we both remember because we devoted several segments to it, in order to move away from that, come up with new standards drawn from Oklahoma values, but good, solid standards and goals. Well, one of their first steps that Joy Hoffmeister took was to throw out the entire process that had been established under that law by her predecessor, Janet Barisi. What you have now is, even though the Board of Education approved these unanimously, Sandra Stotsky, University of Arkansas, said that they're empty and not worthy of being implemented. A professor from Minnesota said they're inferior to several ways to the standards of other states. A school teacher here in Oklahoma, Sarah Huddleston, testified the other day they're vague and not specific. There's a resolution to send it back for a redo, which could probably be done in a few weeks. It's not, like we have to wait then another year, but it's going to make it for an interesting set of decisions next week at the Capitol.
All right. You can read more about these and other topics at CapitalBeatOK.com. For Pat McGuigan, I'm Alex Cameron. Have a good day.